Hey, little buddy, this is Purge. Hey guys, how you doing? My first show with Day9 was yesterday. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the live stream. If you didn't check it out, I'm going to put the link to Sean's video down below. So the way that we worked out the format was the first hour, I presented a lesson to him and did some learning for about an hour, and then he played about 4 pubs. And then after that, during that I took a bunch of clips of his games, and then I gave advice on the games that he played after that, which is what you're about to see in this video. Just a heads up though, I made some tech errors, and because of it, it's pretty low FPS at times, and the audio seems to be desynced at times. So super apologies for that. I should have done more prep in terms of tech. I spent a lot of time focusing on the Dota aspect, but I spent almost no time focusing on the tech aspect and making sure that it wasn't going to be an issue. For example, normally my computer is pretty beastly, at least it was when I got it 2 years ago. It can handle streaming 1080p 60 FPS, which is what most of my content is put out in. But the problem is that when I integrated all of these new production things to make the stream play clips from a video player and do like 2 screen regions from that video player and from Sean's webcam, all of a sudden it bogged down my computer more than normal, so that's why we ended up with bad FPS. So super sorry about that. It's not going to happen next week, hopefully. I'm going to do more tech tests, and I'll bump it down to 720p to make sure my PC can handle it, and hopefully my internet won't also die at the end of the night. That was pretty annoying. So without further ado, please enjoy the coaching session. Any day. There we go. Hey guys, welcome to the post game. Sorry that took so long. I had to make sure all the settings and crap were working, and unlike Sean, I usually use about 2 overlays and 0 hotkeys when I produce my streams, so he's a little bit faster at making that. Thanks. Welcome to the after show. Sean, how did it feel?
Dude, okay. So this is a weird thing to be excited about, but like those games where I was Lion, that was the most unbelievably lost I have ever felt, which was weird because when I first played, I played Lean a bunch of games, and the second character I ever played was Lion.
Okay.
And I played a bunch of Lion games in a row. And Lion's actually like my highest win rate hero. And I was just kind of wandering around, placing wards, derping around in those games. I was actually doing all the things that you said don't do. Don't just sit in lane the whole time and try to just, A-click the other guy.
Yeah.
I was doing all those things, and so part of me thought that when I went back to play Lion again now, I would get a lot more of what I was doing, and I didn't. I was so confused. The Viper games, I have a lot more structure in my head to talk about what went right and wrong, but I was like super lost with Lion, so I'm very, very excited to figure out how the fuck to do anything, man. Help!
Well, we'll focus on the good stuff first. The first Viper game you played, the replay was bugged, and I was trying to poop the dog during that time period. It was unsuccessful, so I think we'll just start with Line. I think that would be the best part to take a look at. So I took a bunch of clips while you were playing the games, and we're going to try to focus on things you did well, and then we'll tell you why Game 2 felt like the worst thing that you've ever done in your entire life, most likely.
Yeah, so, I mean... Yeah, because like the first Lion game I played, I was like, I definitely was the big reason we lost. And then I had the highest gold per minute at the end.
Whoops. Oh no.
Get it back on the screen.
Oh no.
Oh,
that's a secret for mistakes. Oh, don't look. Don't look.
I know what that is. But anyways, what the hell were we talking about? That is the most mind-derailing thing I've ever seen.
Did you not expect to see that?
I gotta be honest, Kevin, I was not expecting that.
Thanks to the guy that made those. He sent them to me. I didn't get a chance to respond to him because I was busy prepping for this. But yeah, I try to do the same thing at Boston. Actually, I try to put a funny thing up on the desktop of the PC in case it crashes or like get all tabs or mistakes, and then we can just sit and laugh instead of talking about how I fucked up in 85 different ways. Okay, so first thing to look at. This is your Line game. This is maybe not the part that I wanted to begin with. What if I filter these? I am prepared. It's just not completely prepared.
Well, while you're doing this, I wanted to come back to like the first game I played Lion. I thought that I was certainly the main reason we lost.
Okay.
And then at the end, I had the highest gold per minute on my team. And it's not that made me go, oh, hey, I really was really good, huh? It just made me utterly confused. I had no idea how to step forward with my analysis at that point, whether it's no, you were doing very...
Oh, this is going to be really confusing. 1 second.
Triple stack there.
Dude, I am... Let's give it a pause. All right, I got it. So the first couple... I'm sorry to interrupt. The first couple clips that I made had audio from you in it, unfortunately. So what I think I'm gonna do
Let's
is
just mute that shit, man.
we're gonna
Last
put
thing
it
before
all the way to zero. Okay, I'm sorry. Continue what you were saying.
yeah, it just left me with like a sense of I don't even have a framework for the analysis. Like that was the big thing is I had no sense of I did terribly at the start, but then happened to get the killing blow on a couple of streaks, and that's
Uh-huh.
why I was so far ahead. Whether it was I was performing fine and everyone else was underperforming, whether it's that yeah,
Yeah,
that
your
yeah,
first game
it just doesn't
was definitely a lot of that. The reason your net worth was so high at the end was just because you were getting a lot of those big streaks. You were basically carrying the team by the end. Normally not supposed to happen from a support perspective, but you were accomplishing that just because you were doing fairly well and you were the one to get the kills. Because obviously, if they have the amount of gold that you get from getting kills is based on how long their streak is, like their what is their net worth in relation to your teams, and also what is your piece of that on your team versus their piece of their teams. So basically, a lot of those late game kills, you're getting like 1,300 gold a kill. And if you get like five of
insane.
those, that's like 2 items or something like that. So that was a lot of the reason why it felt kind of
Okay.
weird at the end. So, for example, this is you starting the game off, and I really do want to focus a lot on the laning aspects. What were good things that you did?
Yes.
So if you take a look at the minimap first, Mirana down here basically came to the lane
Yeah.
and was getting experience while you did this pull. So it was kind of good that you were pulling. But the issue was that because you pulled instead of zone turret, that she actually got a free level here. So it was ultimately
Yeah.
good that you did this, but it might have been better if you had just ended up trying to zone the Mirana instead of just pulling. Because see, in the meantime, look at this jug over here, trying to get last hits, getting right click to whole crap load, and here's you, just pinging away on creeps.
Yeah, I think that this is a moment where it's like I knew a bunch of plays, but I don't know how to assemble them. I
Hmm.
saw I probably read into this way too much. When you showed me the clip of the
Hmm.
poll, I initially went, "Oh, at 1 minute I can stack, and then at 1:15 I can pull." So I should do that at that moment in time. So I also know about the idea of zoning, but I have no idea when to pull slash when to stack versus when zoning.
Hmm. Well, basically, it kind of comes down to what your priorities are. For example, you could have spent time zoning the Mirana to guarantee that she's won. By pulling, you're also denying her experience, but you could have kind of done that the way that you were doing it before. And the other important thing is that your jug didn't even have a stout shield this game. He just had a boots and a windlace,
Oh,
which is part of the reason he took so much damage when he was actually last sitting under tower. So kind of a mistake from him, but hypothetically you could
yeah.
have focused on just zoning the Mirana instead. And like I didn't we didn't get into this too deep in terms of the pulling aspects, but if you do a stack before you pull, then it should kill your whole creep wave, but you won't kill the whole small camp creep wave. And it also takes you about 2 units of time or whatever, we'll say like 30 seconds each, for you to
Yeah.
first stack it and then for you to pull it afterwards. So instead, what
Right.
you could have done was zone for 30 seconds, then come forward and start a pull and do a connect, rather than doing a stack into pull. Because that would allow you to be
Right.
in the lane more, rather than go twice into the jungle to first stack and then to pull.
And along the same lines, is it reasonable for me to maybe start out, zone briefly, stack, and then zone for a while, and then come back and pull to that stacked camp?
Not really, because then you're going to miss the potential of getting a pull. So I think I had one of those. Maybe it might have been a different clip, but here's the example of you actually doing the right here. You were about to stack again. This is at the 3 minute mark, for example. It's not really related to the
Yeah.
question that you asked, but that was a
Yeah.
creep wave that just passed here. Like you very easily could have gone back and done the pull instead. Like see those creeps going by?
Oh
Those are
yeah.
going to get
Yeah.
to the creep wave. Marana's going to get more experience. So I think you're focusing a little bit too much on stacking. It's good that it's in your mind, but it's not as important as talking about lane equilibrium. So in this case, you just have to think of the cost benefit analysis here.
Okay.
Like you've been out of lane for a long time. Yes, you got a stack, but what does the stack do for you? What
So
does
let
it what
me.
does it do for you? I want you to answer that question because I think
What
it's
what
really
is
important.
the stack do for you?
Yeah.
Oh well,
What
you're
what it,
you're gonna love this answer.
okay.
Okay. So literally, I'm just saying it is 3 minutes, and I suppose that I should stack now. I mean, that was the bulk of it. Was me saying, okay, if I continue to stack this, then I can pull multiple times in a row, and then eventually clear out this thing. I
You
was viewing it more as that pulling is good and that stacking is good,
uh-huh.
and
Therefore
just
you
thinking of it
should.
from that angle, as opposed to the top down of like, no, 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 it's all about equilibrium. You're just thinking about equilibrium in the game.
And the equilibrium that you reached here, what did you accomplish by what would have you accomplished by continuing to pull this wave?
What would I have accomplished?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, outside of me, obviously, like me, I'm going to get experience and shit, and I'm going to get gold, and that's tight.
Hmm.
But
Are you going to get experience in gold with 3 creep waves fighting your 1 creep wave?
What you mean the triple stack
Yeah.
against that?
So the triple stack's really strong, is my point. If you keep stacking this
Wow,
and you
yeah.
pull into it,
Didn't even.
it's just going to shred your creep wave, which happened repeatedly. So
Yeah.
you're denying experience. That's all you're doing. You're maybe getting one of those creeps. Whereas instead, if you were just pulling through each time, you get minimum a full experience wave of a small creep camp, and you maybe get a little bit or some of the large camp as well. And you wouldn't
Right.
have to stack it first, so you'd be saving twice as much time. So a stack
So,
pull
yeah.
works, but it's lazy because it's not a connect, and it should usually only be done if there's like no way that you can stop them from interrupting your pull through.
Okay. So,
Like there's another example of this. You like here you are trying to clear the camp, but they're just shredding your creeps here. You got about
and
3
I
maybe,
remember
2 of them.
his catapult. I was just like micro
Yeah.
his catapult for like a full minute. I was like running away. I was like gonna go eat a tango. I was like, I ate the
Yeah.
tree, man.
And this is what you're spending your time on. It's been like 4 minutes, and you've just been fighting the small camp all early game. Like you've barely been over there to like mess with the Mirana. Like I'm glad you did this because it's better than you standing in the lane, just standing there, being like, "Boy, I hope Mirana misses this last hit."
Shit.
But like,
Oh, dude, I felt this. I was just looking at this catapult. I'm looking at my health. I'm getting close to dead, and I'm like, this doesn't happen in the games that I watch.
Yeah.
I don't see this a lot.
so one thing that you didn't know is
That's
that
funny.
siege creeps have a really low priority
Oh.
on aggro. So things don't actually aggro to siege creeps if anything else is there. So because you were there, they were always going to attack you. That's why it attacked you so much, because it doesn't just naturally
Oh,
aggro to
man.
siege creeps. Because otherwise it helps the game end, because creeps will then fight other creeps instead of siege creeps, and there's a higher chance that siege creep
Yeah.
will get to the tower. So
So
that's
let
why.
me regurgitate to you some of what I'm gleaning right now, which is that pulling is something I want. I should be thinking first and foremost about the equilibrium that's in lane and the other person that's there.
Yeah.
Like that is the main thing I'm trying to manage. I'm trying to either pull it back towards us or zone out the other person, and that should be
Yeah.
my primary goal.
And if there's nothing else going on, then just pull constantly. That's assuming nothing's happening.
And so I should therefore think about pulling as a tool to satisfy the equilibrium goal, or to think about stacking the creep camp as a way to further.
Ignore stacking for now. Stacking is about making it easier to pull, but it becomes a less efficient pull. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Focus on your goals are either you're pulling to get yourself golden experience while denying golden experience. My dog's in the room. Oh god. And it's also about pulling the creep equilibrium back. It's both things. So you either will zone the Mirana, or if shit hits the fan, you should pull to like try to deny experience and get yourself something. Because in game 2, that's what you needed. Because the Bat Rider and the Ogre just wrecked you guys. Does that make sense? So basically, if the lane is, you should zone priority number 1. If the person's there. If they're not there, then you should pull. If they're there and you can't zone them because they're stronger than you, you need to pull. Because there's no way you're going to zone them. So that applies for dual lanes. It applies for solo heroes that you fed. There's a lot of cases.
So suppose that there was that video that you linked me. Like, can you like move your mouse over to the ideal location of the creep equilibrium in the bottom right?
It's like right here.
So if it's there,
Yeah.
I should not even really be thinking about pulling at that point.
You should just ensure that she's not within experience range. Ideally, you could trade with her. But if she's not there, if she's like, man, I just can't get any experience, and she leaves the lane, then you can pull.
Okay.
Because if you just start pulling, if the creep wave's in good equilibrium spot, it's basically it's you'll mess up the equilibrium. It'll hurt your carry a little bit unnecessarily. It'll give you some golden experience, which is good, right? But you know, if you pull like that, then it's maybe too dangerous, for example. So when you did actually go to zone the Mirana, this is one of the cases of this. This is pretty funny. You ended up going to zone her, but then you aggroed the creep wave, right? And you see these creeps over here on the right?
Yeah.
Normally those will fight these creeps, but instead what happened is you pulled 4 Mirana is what you did here.
I know. When I did that, I literally just left the scene of the crime, man. Oh my god.
Well, I just wanted to investigate just how much that hurts. You see how many creeps just ran by straight to the tower from Mirana to get easy? That was a lot. And watch all these creeps. Does anybody get gold for these? Because if you get gold for these, you guys get full experience. Okay, you got the range creep. That's 2/5 of the experience. And now these last two just dead. So basically 4 creeps here, or 3/5 of the experience in this wave was halved. So basically you guys only got like 2.5. You basically got half the experience in this wave because of your offensive pull. And it also led to Juggernaut taking a lot of right clicks, and he didn't have a Stout Shield, which was kind of stupid. So, you know,
Awesome.
couple issues like that. Oh yeah, there's a part in this one actually that I wanted to take a look at.
Yeah.
This is where you got the kill on Mirana here near the bounty rune. So you did this fairly well. One of the mistakes that you made was that you're actually already level 3. So probably you should have had 2 points in Earth Spike, or you could have had the Hex level. In this case, you threw your stun out and caught him with the level 1, which is fine. This is kind of like a weird dance, but I did like the fact that you wrapped around with Hex. I think that was the right move once you didn't get the kill with the initial stun. So this was as a whole, it was pretty good. I was pretty pleased with you doing this. But
I think I got level 3 when I picked up the rune. So would you say
did you?
that?
Okay, let me see.
Yeah, because
oh yeah, you did. Yep, you're right.
So, like, are you suggesting that I should note that I'm level 3 and then immediately do the level 2 stun and then try to kill, or
it's a possibility. Your level 1 stun doesn't do very much damage, so hypothetically getting a level 2 stun, I would say, all right, having 1 point in Earth Spike and 1 point in Hex would give you better kill potential against Mirana because she does have leap available. But usually, again, we talked about skill point efficiency. The more you get into it, if it's got 2 skill points instead of just 1, you're getting more damage per value, more damage per mana that you spend to throw it. And it's also just stunning for longer. It'll do stun for like 1.5 seconds instead of 1. So normally, if you're just laning, I would say go 2-0-1. Or I would say go 2 points in Earth Spike, 1 point in Hex, and just skip mana drain until 4. But as a whole, you did okay. Do you know the little pop-up things above the skill? It allows you to do control that hotkey. If you do that, you can level up faster. And Valve just forced everybody to start learning it, and I got used to it too. So I'd recommend doing that just for fast level ups because it can make an impact in moments like these. You also could have looked at your experience and been like, I'm about to hit 3.
Yeah. Okay, so that thing I literally have never done. The other one is just pure laziness, where I'm like, I should learn to do this, and I just keep clicking on it. So.
Okay. Some of these other engagements were decent. This was a TP gank here for you to initiate over here. Like as a whole, like basically I saw a lot of progress in this game because I saw that you had taken into account a lot of the things that you did that I showed you in the laning stage, and you did put an effort towards pulling. It's just you didn't really do the pulling at the right time, and you didn't do it quite perfectly at the right circumstances. So that was good. And then you basically just ran around the map and did a ton of shit, which was good. You got tons of stuff done around the map.
Really?
Yeah, you roamed fairly okay. I mean, your ganking is not amazing, but we'll get there in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh, let me just say, I was like, I'm gonna pop out from this tree, and then 3 people popped out from that tree to kill me, and I was like, okay, this did not go as planned.
Well, you know that's not always something you can expect. Like as an observer, I can see the whole map, but you can't, for example. So sometimes there will be more heroes than you expect, but it's more about how you approach a gank than it is about, oh man, I just died stupidly. Like for example, in this gank, Juggernaut ran forward and started spinning before you had even accomplished your TP. This is really stupid because, let's be honest, if Mirana had just ran, she wouldn't die here because you shouldn't have been able to get in range of her to even get the stun off in the first place. And kind of in the same vein, you're about to use Hex here on the Earthshaker, but why? What does using Hex on Earthshaker here accomplish?
I mean, specifically here, my thought is if I Hex him and we just start to chase him, then we will, oh, he was actually retreating. Yeah, if at some point my cooldown comes back for my Q, we can kill him. I'm just thinking literally as many slows as we can because there's a 2-on-1, and there's literally nothing more to it than that.
And it definitely almost worked. It was very close for sure. Just didn't quite execute perfectly. Here's another example. You're basically trying to initiate on the Mirana, but she's looking right at you because it's daytime. She can see all the way over here.
Yeah, dude, I felt real embarrassed, man.
And then she arrowed you afterwards. So I eventually switched to her perspective. At some point, you did hide behind the tree, which was great. But this is her looking at you, like you're actually just inches away. She's sitting by her tower right now, and she can almost see you. So it's really important that when you're playing, when you're trying to gank somebody, you don't want them to know where you are. It's really important because then if she sees you there, she's going to back up because she's not stupid. The only way she doesn't do that is if she, number one, doesn't look at the map, or number two, if her camera isn't centered over you, in which case, okay, maybe it won't happen.
Yeah, this is something that like it's like programmed into me from StarCraft. It feels really weird to just go behind a tree and sit there.
Yeah.
It feels wrong in like every bone of my body.
What feels wrong about it? Do you feel like you should be doing something, or
Yeah, I mean, like in StarCraft, there's windows of opportunity. Like it's more important to make a decision and to do it quickly than it is to sit around debating and trying to figure out what the right thing to do is.
okay?
So, for instance, if there's been times when I'm like, I'm going to hide behind this tree and look for a gank opportunity, and I sit there for a while, and then it really turned out there was no good gank opportunity. There's a thing in me that goes, "Oh my god, I really, 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 really screwed up there," and maybe that evaluation internally is completely wrong. I mean, obviously my position against Murano was bad, but part of the reason why I was going forward is okay. There's no potential to do a gank right now. I better try to see maybe if I can like make something work. Like right here, it's so far pushed forward.
Yeah.
Do I just go behind the tree and sit there?
There's basically a lot of different ways that you could do it. First of all, you
Yeah,
could just gank somewhere else instead. You could
yeah,
use a smoke, ideally. You could do something like, if you look in the minimap here, you could run through the river, come by the secret shop, and wrap from the back. That way you know you're behind her, and it's more difficult for her to get past you before you disable her. But basically, running straight up at her in the daytime, almost never going to work. It will work sometimes at 2K, honestly. And a lot of players get by with that. But at some point, you have to adjust your playstyle to be like, hey, my opponents are going to look at their map. They're going to see that giant orange dot or the giant yellow dot appear on the map. Say like, oh, hey, man, maybe Lion's here. And then they're not going to die as a result. And then you are wasting your time. So, yeah, okay, if you want to sit behind a tree, that's fine. But sit behind a tree in a place where you're pretty sure they don't know that you're there. That way, there's a chance that they'll eventually say, hey, maybe I can actually kill this Jug. They go on Jug, then you pop out and kill him, for example. That's really
okay.
important. And this is actually another really good example of this. I called it Be Patient. I'm going to try to pause it like right. Oops, that's not what I want.
You can use left bracket and right bracket to slow time down.
Oh, hell yes, dude. I'm not a very good VLC player user. Let's just go over here, and I'm going to press pause. So if you take a look at the map right now, you have some allies in the area. You've got Treant over to the left by the secret
Yeah,
shop. You have OD to your south. And you basically initiated on this Earthshaker who's kind of in a weird position, and you just ran forward and went on him. The issue is that you went too early. You have to kind of maximize your
yeah,
combo with other people, and this is another big aspect of playing support. And to be honest, this is a large reason why playing heroes like Line is difficult, because you can't necessarily just rely on yourself, because you already have so much damage. You've got Finger of
yeah.
Death, you've got your first disable, you've got your second disable, you have tons of damage. But if you were strong enough to just use your full combo and kill somebody every time, the game would be broken, right? Because people just pick Line every game and go around comboing. So you have to just
Sounds
coordinate
awesome.
a bit better. This would have been a great time to be a little bit more patient in
Yeah,
your initiation, because if you just would have waited a second, like, look how much closer they were. Like half a second. If you just would have waited and then gone in, it could have been
yeah,
a stun, a couple right clicks, into banish, into hex, while three people are right clicking that guy. He dies
yeah.
100%.
Because I know what's going through my head in that moment is okay. He could move at any second. I need to take advantage of the opportunity now.
Yeah.
But it I mean, now that you're just saying it out loud, it sounds so much more obvious. Like, well, wait a second and get a guaranteed kill,
Yeah.
or wait a second and he leaves and you didn't waste any mana.
It's very difficult sometimes to understand, to in that moment get excited, oh man, somebody's out of position, and to look at your map and be like, hey, did my allies retreat 10 seconds ago? And a lot of times I don't even look. I just go in and I'm like, oh, they're actually all
Right.
the way back in Fountain. But this is another example of that. Another thing is, you've got two wards here, two sets of wards. You got to place these more often too. Like if you look at the vision on the map right now, we just
Yeah.
have wards over here. We haven't talked about wards at all, so I can just briefly explain. You want them in a place where you expect your opponents to be, or where you expect to be fighting. Is a really good place to put wards down. So if you were over here a moment ago, you could have put one on the low ground. You could have crossed the river and placed one down or something. There's a lot of places you can put wards down that will help you react to ganks and set up ganks properly with good vision. Okay? So just try to ward while you're doing something else, and then you don't have to waste time being like, oh, it's time to ward. Well, let me go walk all the way over. You can do it
Yeah.
while you're
Yeah.
ganking or reacting.
Literally, exactly what's going through my head is like, oh, I guess it's warding time, so I guess I'll just go try to ward.
Yeah.
And all right, now it's running around and doing nothing time. But
Okay, now
yeah, yeah,
I'm gonna flame
cool.
you about your skill build now. Who told you to do this skill build?
This skill build,
Yeah.
okay. This don't. All right, no one to blame except for me, man. This is a Day9 original
Okay,
skill
what's
build.
what why do you like it?
Let me walk you through it. Okay, so the big reason is simply that I used to be in lane a lot more, harassing the other person a lot more, and favoring the increased stun amount and the like maximizing Q and E first. Like
Uh-huh.
I could stun a lot more and drain mana a lot more.
Okay.
That's essentially it. So I deprioritized Hex.
That's fine. One hex is pretty valued. The only downside, obviously, is the cooldown's really long. It's 30 seconds at one.
Yeah.
But the thing you're missing right now is that you could have your spike maximized at the moment. It's it's an AoE stun. It's a nuke. It's not a great nuke. It's like 200 damage at 3 points, 260 at 4. But AoE stun, fairly low cooldown, pretty good reach, great ability. But because you haven't maxed it out by the time you're 7 now you're hitting this like power curve issue. And we'll talk a lot about power curves in later weeks, but you're definitely lacking kill potential. And this is something that you possibly felt like in the second line game that you played, that hey, we're behind, we lost the laning stage, now we're at a point where you don't know what to do and you just want advantage. And to be honest, the easiest way to do it is just to kill people. But because you only have 3 points in Earth Spike now, and to be honest, up until this point in the game, 13 minutes, I'd seen you cast Mana Drain less than 8 times maybe.
That's the thing, is that like I felt in these games that I was absolutely never short on mana, never really needed to cast the Mana Drain.
Yeah.
And I was actually like, maybe I don't need to get this.
Especially the second game, because you had a Crystal Maiden on your team.
Sake. God damn it, my cat just keeps chewing on my... No. Sorry, go ahead. What were you saying about Crystal Maiden? I got...
Second game, you had a Crystal Maiden on your team who gives mana to you and everyone else on your team. So you needed it even less in game 2. So here's an example. You're level 7 here. Do you remember this moment?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember how much it hurt? All right, you see that HP right there? That little sliver of red. I guarantee you, if you had 4 points in Earth Spike, that's a dead Tinker. And do you know why you didn't kill him right there?
Oh, yeah, because low ground mischance, man.
No. See that word says evade. It doesn't mean miss. It's he blinded you with his laser. It gives you 100% mischance for 3 seconds.
Oh,
so literally the only way you kill him there is if you actually had 4 points in Earth Spike. And I guarantee that the Treant, even if that didn't kill him, the Treant would have been able to gap close with the extra 0.6 seconds to disable.
Okay, yeah.
And get the final blow. So little things like that. This is a perfect example of a small min-max error completely making a difference here. And then all of a sudden these guys can do whatever they want. Look at Treant. This could have been a dead Tinker right here, and then Treant would have been dealing with TA. But instead he's running over here trying to get that last kill. So you're basically solo at this point. Like all of these little things completely add up over the scope of the game, piece by piece, pretty much.
Right.
Here's another fight. Don't completely remember this one off the top of my head. I think nobody got kills here. This is another example. Basically, this is mostly your team just kind of sucked, but like right here, if Timber just held his Chakram down a little bit longer, it would have been a dead Bloodseeker. But it's kind of the same thing. You could have done 60 more damage to that Bloodseeker. He would have been disabled for 0.6 more seconds. All of those things would have really added up. So, but because nobody's actually dying right at the start, it makes everything very difficult. So, like all of these things, like small fractions of disable amounts, small damage increases, it can completely swing fights just because the smallest amount means somebody lives, and then somebody will want to chase that. This was really well done by you. I loved this gank that you did. This is where you saw the Bloodseeker, then you guys popped the Fountain. The only thing that I think you did a little bit sloppy was that you were moving maybe a little bit more than you needed to. And by that, I basically mean you're already getting regen. If you're moving, you're losing HP. Whereas if you're standing still, you're just getting regen. You should have just been right-clicking this guy. Because it may seem small.
Yeah.
You only do 84 damage. But, that stuff really adds up.
We've already seen the example of the Tinker.
Yeah, exactly. It just super adds up, pretty much. But it was cool how you waited here for 3 seconds. This is pretty well done. Thought that was great. I didn't really see... Are you ground-clicking for a lot of your stunts? Because you do miss occasionally, but...
Yeah, for some of them when I'm trying to like... so first of all, I play a lot of Nyx, so I know some of it is not deliberate. I just sort of instinctively hit the Q thing out. But like only, I think, twice was I deliberately clicking on the ground to get more range.
Okay. How do you feel about the level 10 talent tree, by the way? Have you ever tried the 45 damage?
No, absolutely not. This is actually the first time I've played Lion since 7.0.
Okay, so
this is like, when this came up, I was like, huh.
Okay, well, you went for health both games, I believe. I like the health idea. I think 45 damage is also very good. There's certainly some cases where maybe you would have been able to get a kill. Like that's just a replay bug. Ignore the machines.
Holy shit!
Oh, it's not a replay bug. It's a Dota TV bug. So what I wanted to point out in this one especially was, look at where you guys are in the game. So this is kind of like basically shit just kept happening mid, right? There's tons of fighting mid. You respawn and you TP mid. But look on the map where everybody is. Why did you TP mid here?
At this moment, I was saying I want to go place a ward.
Okay. I will believe you because you have 4 wards in your inventory.
I think I actually died a moment before. Yeah, look, I'm blinking to try to go all the way up to the ward area.
Okay,
Then
so
this happens.
I agree that you need to get wards down, but I imagine there were other moments that you could have done it. And the point that I kind
Yeah.
of wanted to make in this clip was the fact that if anybody else was here, you would have had a kill. And you did this pretty perfectly with the stun bars. You disabled, you waited to hex, you've been right clicking. However, imagine if you had plus 45 damage right now. Like, this guy was pretty darn low. I pretty much guarantee that he would have died if you actually did have, like, there's no way that you wouldn't have killed this guy if you didn't have plus 45 damage. So again, small points to be made, if especially in games
Yeah.
like these where you are fighting all the time at your MMR. I genuinely feel like a clip like this is by far super. It just shows you need the damage
Yeah.
in a lot of cases because you're gonna fight all the time. You're gonna right click and you should be trying to solo carry. So I'm just gonna pause that perfectly, and we can go into the next game.
Okay, sick. Was this all the first game?
Yeah, that was literally just game 1.
Okay.
That was more like mid game stuff. If we take a look at game 2, it's a lot more laning stage things, more so than just mid game things. Because at that point, game 2 basically sucked so bad, just because the lane was hard, and then you don't know how to recover from being in a bad laning stage.
Yeah. Yep. That all sounds very accurate. Like the lane matchup. Like I just did not really know too much about how Batrider worked.
Uh huh.
I mean, I knew of the very flashy abilities like the lasso and the burn ground. But today I learned about the ink and all that stuff that goes down.
Uh huh.
But I mean, yeah, remember at the start of the laning phase, I was utterly completely lost. I felt lost in the mid game in both games.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like the mid game went better than I had a sense of in this last game. But I mean, the second one was just didn't feel very good, man.
Yeah. Basically, they had a really good dual lane. Batrider as well as Ogre are quite strong in laning, and Ogre could really help do basically facilitate all the nasty things that that strong laners do. So we can hop into that.
Yeah.
When you first were roaming around here to try to deal with the Batrider a little bit, I like that you approached him. This is actually a little bit more so on your Juggernaut than on you, because this is like in the drawing that we did earlier today about how the
Yeah.
carry should come rotate over to help. For example,
Yeah.
if you guys just used Earth Spike on the Batrider here and Jug did a full 5-second spin, Jug would do 400 magic damage and you would do like 75 or something like the 80, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then Bat would be low, and then he would have to slowly abuse getting experience. Where because this didn't happen, it ended up being just Batrider getting lots of advantage from the lane. So that's a little bit more on Jug. But basically at this point you have to realize, oh shit, there's an Ogre here, and there's a Batrider,
Yeah.
and there's almost no way that you can lane against this. Because did you feel strong at all versus these two heroes?
No, never at any point, especially the ogre. I just was like, I don't know, he's so tanky and he has a billion armor.
So what do you think you were supposed to do in this circumstance?
I mean, in this circumstance, I was literally simply trying to stack at the 1 minute
Uh huh.
and then try to pull immediately to try to pull the wave all the way back to the tower. That was the very first time that I actually had a conscious equilibrium decision, but
That's basically what you should have done. Yeah, just pulling because you can't zone. That's what I said earlier as well. If you can't zone, just pull, because at least you will be
yeah.
getting yourself some experience. It's kind of scary for the Jug because then he's got to deal with 2 heroes trying to harass him, but he can offset that by just spinning if things get really dangerous. So
Yeah, I mean, one thing that's been really helpful about your analysis of the last game is that the reason I was stacking and pulling is because I just thought to myself, "Oh, stacking and pulling is a good thing that I should do." I had no thought of it in relation to the primary goal of keeping the equilibrium in a good spot. So
that's fine. In a game
yeah,
like this where they're really difficult to lane, completely worth it. So you did a stack first. You barely made it. That was good. And you got a pull going. If you take a look at what Jug's doing in this lane, basically this is the remainder of the creeps that you had after you did your pull. The rest of your creeps
yeah,
are obviously over here. Now, ultimately, you eventually did use your nuke on these creeps, but it was a bit late because by the time you did use it, if we look back at the safe lane, I don't remember if I did or not, but basically all the creeps are gone now. So now they're like, hey,
yeah,
where are creeps? And this is when they're going to be like, oh, okay, somebody obviously pulled. And then they will come to contest you. So if you had used your skills towards the start of this pull instead of towards the end, they might have all been
yeah.
dead by the time they got over there.
Yeah, I mean, so there was something that's been programmed in my head that is like very wrong, which is, oh, if I double stack a camp, then I can have my creep wave fight the double stacked camp, and that will trade. I think that there's only a few permutations of double stacked camps that actually make that happen. But in my head, I just
Yeah.
assume that it would be an exact trade. So I use my spike late more as a, oh shit, it's not trading sort of reaction. Is it generally okay to just spike right at the start?
It kind of depends. It depends on what camp spawns. Some are better than others at doing damage. Like the five little kobolds, the ones that run really fast. Those
Yeah.
guys do very low damage. A lot of small camps do have. I don't think it's called piercing anymore. In Warcraft 3, it was piercing damage, so it does bonus to
Yeah.
lane creeps. So like the Null assassins do a lot of DPS. The Ghost is really beefy. She's really strong. The Harpies are fairly strong. So it kind of depends on what camp you're against. If you get a kobold camp, all the five little guys, and you get like I don't know someone that if there's like the two trolls that have axes and one of them heals,
Yeah,
that would
yeah.
be like the best double wave that just doesn't do damage. So in that case, you may not want to use nukes, for example. But maybe versus the super high damage one, you'll want to use nukes.
Okay.
But you got to get a
So
balance so that everything kind of dies on both sides. That's what you want ultimately. You want them to
okay,
die.
so I'll put that as homework for myself to like go hunt down what the damage values are, just get some intuition
I
around it.
mean, the easiest thing for you to do is just to practice pulling. We didn't really have time to
Okay.
do that this morning for drills. We would have done it, but we
Ah.
kind of tried to push it on, and let's be real, it didn't happen. So this is one of the times you guys ended up dying in the lane. So I'm gonna let
Yeah.
you watch this, and why don't you tell me what you think you did wrong?
Okay. Let me first watch it. Uh, well, I can
All
you
right, I'm
rewind it
gonna
one
give you a
more time?
tip. The mistake has already been made.
I want to say engaging before my. Oh, I guess it's whiffing my Q completely.
Okay, that's part of it, yes, but think about it from Batrider's perspective, okay? Do you know how the hero works now? He throws napalm on you, you take more damage every time he does a source of damage to you, and then he flies over you until you die.
Yeah.
So by using your stun, even if it would have hit the ogre, Batrider would have known, hey, line stun is on cooldown, time to fuck line up. And it was the same for Jug as well. You guys basically both used your creep waves. Jug here spun because he got ignited, so he didn't want to take 125 damage. So he's like, I'm going to use the only defensive and offensive ability I have in the game to remove 125 damage.
Yeah.
And which basically means, hey, they should probably go in. So you pretty much reacted just about worst case, just because you used the nuke like that. Like, Jug had already spun halfway, which means
Yeah.
that he's just not even going to do damage if they end up engaging. So at that point, you should just be in damage control mode, saving your stun
Yeah.
if the Batrider chooses to try to gap close. And again,
So
I'm looking at the skill build and I'm like, I really wish you had Hex here, is another thing too.
I see.
Because you use one nuke and now you've got nothing. You've just got, you're going to mana drain the Batrider.
Yeah, it felt real useless. Um, okay, so to regurgitate back, like in this spot, I should just be hightailing it and say fuck it, Juggernaut, because we're
I
so fucked right now.
Pretty much here, I would just right click the ogre a little, play things out. You don't have to use your stun right away. Sometimes it is better to use your disable at the start of the fight so that it comes off
I
cooldown
I
again.
100% front load my disables. 100%, man. I'm just like, all right, let's begin. Spike, you know.
But the issue with that is that if you do need to use them reactionary, then it's bad because you guys both front loaded your disables, but now you have literally nothing to
Yeah.
kill or defend yourselves.
Yeah, I think that this is one of the first games, at least where I've been someone who like is trying to think a lot. Certainly should play games. I'm like whatever, but this is one of the first games where I actually feel like we were very dominated just by what two characters they were, and I was not sure what to do.
I mean, it was both. It
And
wasn't just the heroes they were playing; it was also the way that they played them. Because they abused you using your skills. They abused the
yeah,
fact that line is actually not a very good laning here. The reason that most pros don't pick line right now is because of how useless you felt this game. It's not just because you're a
huh,
new player. It's also because line low armor. His damage is okay, but his nukes are kind of crappy. They're not very high damage. It's mostly disable. So it's like by
yeah,
level one line is kind of a crap hero, pretty much. compared to Ogre. Ogre's a better hero,
Okay.
for example.
Okay, so there was something you used in there, which is when you might need to use your Q in a more reactionary way or a Hex in a more reactionary way.
Yeah.
I feel like Bat Rider, now that I know the abilities, okay, he can just roast me for 1 billion damage relatively easily if I have no answer.
Yeah.
What are other things that I should look for? Just like
Well,
large scale persistent damage or high speed heroes or
basically the fixture that's the biggest counter to Batrider comes down to the fact that it it's countered by he casts a lot of spells, right? Every single time that he casts Napalm, there's a spell cast, which means if you have a magic stick, every single time that he casts Napalm, you get 15 HP, 15 mana
yeah.
in the laning stage. That's better than mana drain, right there. So if you just buy an early magic stick
Right.
in the laning stage, sometimes even before you get brown boots, then you can just have free mana to cast spells to lower his HP.
Yeah.
Or if he goes on you, you're going to have like a free 150 HP to pop right before he kills you that might make him make mistakes. So the first thing you and Jug probably should have done was bought magic sticks really early. That way,
Yeah.
if he does cast Napalm on you to try to fish for an opportunity for him to kill you, then you would have had that ready to kill.
So, but what are some other heroes like Bat Rider that I might want to be a little more conservative and save my Q on as a reactionary tool? I'm
Ursa,
trying.
Monkey King. There's not that many heroes that have like incredible damage outputs. Batrider's certainly one of them because
Yeah.
Firefly does damage every half second, and if every napalm he puts on you does extra 10 damage for every damage source, it adds up really quickly, obviously. And a lot of
Yeah.
heroes don't have just like damage like that. Darkseer is a good example because he just does damage by standing next to you. Ember Spirit can sometimes be that case with his Flame Guard. There's not that many. And if you don't know what you're doing, Batrider is definitely one of the hardest heroes to lane against. So I think this is just a circumstance of you not knowing what the hell Batrider did, the guy being a better player than you, and the laning stage not going hot in any way. So all of these deaths just led to this point where the game was almost impossible. Here's this clip. It was pretty important as well. At the start of it, at least, you actually missed a pull here. So you're standing here. You're probably trying to impact on the lane,
Yes.
but instead you just could have pulled. There's a creep wave there. And then you could have pulled through to the large camp. And even if you didn't, you still get a level from killing a small camp.
Okay. So I mean, and the reasoning behind doing this here is, Sean, you are not having an impact on the lane. Just pull.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
basically.
Just pull.
Um,
Okay.
and yeah, there's basically almost nothing you could have done in that moment successfully, in my opinion. It would have been just better to do the pull alone. Just do the pull, get the gold, get the experience, deny some of the experience from them. And then if things really, 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 really hit the fan, then you just leave your lane and go do other things. And that's something you seemed very reluctant to do this game. Do you feel like
Yes.
you just have this like attachment to your lane, like this is where you're supposed to be, stuff like that?
Yeah. No. 100%. Absolutely. Most of the characters that I've played. Let's see. So a lot of mids where I tend to stay mid until like 12-ish minutes, 10,
Okay.
12, or if the tower falls. Um, Off lane with Nyx, I start to feel freedom to roam around once I hit 6 because I have the very obvious
Yeah, that's perfect.
ultimate choice.
Yeah.
And outside of that, I just feel very like, okay, I guess I'm here in my lane because like it feels weird to me. This like, let me see if I can do something else in mid,
Hmm.
and then I walk towards mid and I don't see an opportunity, and then I walk back here. There's something goes on in my head that goes, we wasted a lot of time and that's bad. Maybe that's just an incorrect way to think.
Well, think about it this way. Let's say that in this clip, your small camp was actually blocked. What do you do then? You already felt
What do you mean by
useless.
blocked?
Like somebody put a ward there on the ground and it prevented your camp from spawning. Therefore, you just can't ever pull. What do
Yeah.
you do then? Do you just stand in your lane?
I mean, the answer is no, but I want you to know that that's what I would do.
Okay. I actually believe you, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So that's
yeah.
why sometimes you have to leave your lane and think about predictability as well. You guys have only experienced the ogre and the bat rider being in your lane the whole game. If you just show up somewhere randomly and your opponents don't see you coming, and all of a sudden there's a level 3 line there who hexes somebody and then uses a level 2 earth spike, there's a decent chance you might just kill them. And that changes the whole game, because instead of sitting in the top lane splitting experience with Jug's gonna have a bad time no matter what. He's still gonna be up there with Bat Rider, but at least you can go somewhere else and try to get
Yeah.
yourself advantage or somebody else advantage. So if the lane's really sucky, just go gank somewhere, but make sure you gank effectively, because if it's an ineffective gank, then you've also wasted your time. But
I look forward to week 6 where we go over that.
yes, we will. That's basically your lane is going real bad, ditch, and get a kill somewhere. But there's no way you're
Copy.
ready for that yet. I don't think. There's a lot of other basics.
Sir, yes, sir.
So I got a bunch of other clips. They're not super well ordered, so this may be kind of haphazard here. Okay, so at some point, basically, the Crystal Maiden shifted in the lane. This is a very similar clip to the one where you went on the Earthshaker too late. Like, look how close you are to disabling this guy, and then, again, here's spin. That would have been a ton of damage. So this is basically a coordination problem again. So even if somebody does rotate to your lane, if you were just standing right next to where Crystal Maiden was, 100% that's a kill. And maybe if she had a little bit more mana as well, because she could have used her first skill. But that would have been a dead Bat Rider.
Yeah.
He would have been 2-1 instead of 2-0.
This is another one of these moments where I go, God, I really wish I had Hex, right? Because, like...
You had it there, I believe? You just were too far away.
Oh, no, there's no way I had
Oh,
Hex.
God, you really did.
Are you kidding me?
Well,
listen, I got a build, man, and the build involves the super fast mana drain, man.
The 5-minute, 30-second no Hex build, is that what it is?
That's the play right there, man.
All right. I don't even know what this one is, but it says you get wrecked. Oh, yeah, this is...
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, like, he's just...
This is actually a gank, kind of.
Well, okay, so if you go back to the start of this clip...
Yeah.
And let's slow the speed down a bit.
Okay, I'll use my new hotkeys.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, look at this. So I feel like I was not in the correct position anyways at that left side.
Well, first problem, look at that little number above your head. You got 3 napalm stacks already. I don't know if I clicked on your hero here. Okay, so if you look right here above your skills...
Yeah.
You can see exactly how many napalm stacks.
Yeah, I was still trying to figure it out. I was reading like a few words at a time of that tooltip. So I was down to movement speed slow and attack speed slow.
Okay. So basically, if he's got that many charges on you and they land 1 disable on you, you're pretty much dead. Because even if you disable him, he's just going to recast napalm and then put you up to 4 stacks and then 5 stacks. And at that point, he's way faster than you. So
what's the max stacks on napalm?
10, I think. But
good lord,
pretty much never get there unless it's like really extreme. There may be other cases, but I can't really remember.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Let's look at your gank mid attempt. This one was pretty good. This is a case of you kind of attempting to do something. This is a mix of vision. Unfortunately for you, got a little unlucky here. The Bat Rider just finished his Blink Dagger, so he was going to plan to gank the mid lane. So he just happened to be there the same time that you were, which is why you ended up getting pretty wrecked. And then I thought it was kind of funny that you just let him stack 2 napalms on you.
Dude.
So I thought I would bring that up. But it was a good attempt either way. I mean, maybe if you had 3 points in stun, maybe more likely. But I did like that you got 6 and you tried to get something done. That was good.
I want to let you know something.
Okay.
When like a minute or two ago, you said, "Okay, you see that 3 above your head? That is the first time I have registered that there is a number above my head."
Okay.
I was like. It's like that scene in Indiana Jones where he like throws the sand and it turns out there's like a pathway there, man. Like that blew my mind. And now that I like see this giant orange number, I feel like such a dumb shit, man.
It's okay. You're not a dumbass. I'm pretty sure that if you're playing, you don't see the number above your head.
Yeah.
All you see is this here, this little guy here. So you just have to know. You have to look at it, be like, hey, I wonder how many stacks I have. Look down, boom, there it is. If you're playing against a Shadow Demon, it's very similar. Shadow Demon can see the numbers above your head. So it's easier for him to know how many you have offensively. But defensively, you don't know. This is only because I'm an observer. Okay?
Sick.
So you won't see that. I don't know. There's little things like this. I think you hexed way too early here. For example, when you're playing line, it's very important that you're careful when you use your disables. You tried to stun him here, but he fogged you at the worst time. Therefore, it became a ground click. And then he ended up living because of it. You know, just little things like that are impactful. If you'd held your hex until the last moment, then it would have been better.
Can you explain a little bit about that, like, use of the hex there?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so the benefits of hex: instant cast time, so you can perfectly react as long as you can click and your hero's facing the right direction and it is in the right range. And it makes him slower, and he can't cast spells or anything or attack. So for you to instantly hex him as soon as you see him is not worth it, because all you're doing is limiting his movement, making sure he can't attack and he can't cast spells. And if he did cast a spell on you, it really wouldn't matter that much because it would do a little damage. But he's not going to kill you solo when the joke is also there. So what you should do instead is follow him.
So if I follow and I start hitting him a little bit, then I can look and say, okay, at this moment, me and Jug are close enough to him that I want to stun/hex.
Exactly.
Because when I'm in one of these solo spots, my brain like basically treats Hex or Spiked as the same. It's like something to disable the guy to slow him down.
You should generally not look at it that way because Hex has such a long cooldown and it's instant. So for example, the threats that you have to worry about is if you didn't Hex him here, he's moving faster, which means he could go hide in one of the trees and try to TP. So it might be nice to have Hex because if you do see him last minute, when he's about to TP out, you might be able to disable him in time. So that's really the only huge threat you have. He's so out of position here where the creep wave is. Like, his salvation is all the way over here. There's almost no way that he gets out of that unless your disables are used at a time when you guys aren't damaging him. So you needed to use the disables when Jug is hitting him, when you're hitting him as well. Sick. Instead of the way you did, which was just like you right-clicking him twice.
Yeah.
So you guys got one right-click each because of that.
Dude, this hurt a lot when I was like, I want to get him. Oh!
And then you used Omni Slash. No! And did you see the Fairy Fire?
What? Oh, is that right what here? That was? Yeah.
Fairy Fire. So if you use it like that, amazing, right? It demoralizes your opponents really effectively. But
and then I just was like, I totally like television. Oh, I gotta kill him! I gotta kill him.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fair attempt by you, I think, to try to go for that. But obviously, somebody would TP to end up helping. So I don't think that was too surprising. Oh, I think we're just about done with this clip, so you can put this in the back of your memory banks for all of time. Hey, remember that one time that I did really bad online on stream? You're always going to remember these. Whenever you have bad games is what I'm trying to say. Whenever you have bad games, you're just always going to think about it once in a while. It'll be like the first time you tried to kiss a girl or something. It'll be like, hey, remember that one time I tried to play Lion and it just went awful?
Dude,
it'll haunt you for the rest of your Dota life.
Dude, fuck no. See, games are only fun when they hurt. I'm tired of these games that you sit down and it's just like a linear slot machine of like, you're amazing, A+, 3 stars, man. I want a game that hurts sometimes because then when you figure out how to make it not hurt, you actually did something, man. You actually did something meaningful, man. So show me the pain. Dig in.
Okay. Well, the pain right here is if you're playing against a hero with a Blink Dagger, what's the best way for you to initiate on them? Give me an answer. What do you got?
Stun. Like when you say to initiate on them, maybe I'm misunderstanding exactly the right way, but like I would just blink in.
Let's watch exactly how this happened, okay? You guys are invis. You're smoked. He doesn't know you're here, right?
Yeah.
So let's see how this plays out. CM walks forward. Smoke breaks. He sees you. And then you do actually get a right click off on him. But if he was playing better, he would have just used Blink Dagger. So when you initiate on somebody that doesn't know you're there and they're a decent player, they're going to blink away as soon as you blink in. So what you have to do is either deal damage to them instantly as you initiate, or you have to use Hex. So the way that you should have played that, as soon as you saw the Bat Rider, you probably should have just blink Hexed.
Yeah.
Because then he can't blink for 2.5 seconds. And then after 2.5, you stun him.
Can you back up? Because I'm wondering if I actually tried to hit Q and target on him, because I think I may have Q clicked on him.
I didn't go from your player perspective, unfortunately. The first issue is that CM showed first, but she did not have a Blink Dagger. And maybe you did, but he got kind of far away was the issue.
Yeah. It may not have been this time. There was another time when I blinked on someone and was like, oh, I'm going to shoot him. And I just couldn't quite get there. But either way.
It's definitely likely it's here. But the important thing to remember when you're playing line and you go Blink Dagger and that build is correct, your build is right here, you got to go Hex first. And that's when Hex becomes a priority, when you're initiating, just because it doesn't have a cast animation like most other skills. So
never thought of it. Zach.
All right, now we can talk about green snakes for a bit, if you're into that.
I fly into a rage.
Now I just gotta hope that these sort in order by when I recorded them. Fingers crossed. Date. Ascending.
I'm crossing hard, man. Dude, these are the crossest fingers I've ever had. Come on, man. All fingers, all pairs.
All right, you ready for some Viper? All right, we got a long clip here. I'm gonna. All right, first tell me how you felt like this lane went versus the Ember Spirit. You're Viper, he's Ember.
I felt like I have played against one or two Ember Spirits before, where I just shat all over them. So I kind of had like the watery mouth, like, oh, we're gonna kill him a lot this game, and I felt like I missed a shitload of last hits as a result because I was overvaluing shooting him.
Yeah, and that happens a lot actually for Viper players. You think, oh, I'm gonna kill him, and then I'm gonna get a crap load of gold. But then if he barely survives, it adds up over the course of the game, and you end up with less last hits, which certainly happened. Now, if you take a look at his items here, see what he's got. He's got a Stout Shield, he's got a Tango, and he's got a Quelling Blade. So him last hitting is fairly reasonable. Do you know how this hero works at all? Have you ever played him?
Yes, I know how this hero works.
Okay, so do you know how much magic damage level 1 Flame Guard blocks?
150?
No, it blocks 50.
Wow.
So if you do 50 magic damage to him with level 1 Flame Guard, his Flame Guard will turn off. So every time that he uses this early game, it's ideal if you just do a little magic damage to him, because then his Flame Guard goes away, and then he doesn't have a good way to farm anymore. So it's a very important thing to remember when abusing him. You did abuse this guy, but abusing
Okay,
that is
so
important.
now if there was abuse that happened here, it was purely unintentional. Actually, can you rewind back a little
Yes.
bit? I literally never even thought about the connection of, oh, if I deal enough magic damage to him, it pops. Um, can you back up like right to the
Yep.
very beginning and hit me with a little 0.7x speed, man.
Oh,
Yeah, man. Let's slow
oh
this
shit!
puppy.
I forgot we were slowed there.
Oh yeah, let's slow it down. Let's slow it down
Oh,
a lot because
you want slow? Oh, okay.
yeah,
What do you want to look
like
at? Him standing in a circle?
I was unsure about this pull of the creeps that happened right at the start. I don't know if it was standard or good or bad, but
You
yeah,
pulled the creeps, right?
yeah, like right here, I click on him.
Okay, so your mistake is that you did it too late. This creep is about to die. So you needed to do it slightly before this creep was about to die. You basically pulled it towards you in the exact moment that you should have been last hitting it instead. So if you would have done that half a second earlier, this creep would have wrapped around this way to you,
Yeah,
and then you could have gotten the last hit. And he
yeah,
would have
because
been
this
prevented.
yeah this is very similar to me pulling and stacking with Lion. I was doing it because I had just learned how to do it, so I was like doing this because I was just I have
Yeah,
the
yeah.
tool now. I have a button, so I'll hit it. Okay.
But you missed the last hit, of course.
Yep.
I was wondering if you noticed something else. No, I think I'll point that out later. But the important thing is that pretty much I think you got 0 of the first wave,
Yes.
quite sure. And at this point, there's a whole lot of creeps, so he turned on his Flame Guard, right? So this is a moment where you could potentially try to harass him. But the important thing to remember is that Flame Guard does half of its total potential damage at one skill point. It's just that the block is lower. So it basically does a lot of damage at level 1. So it allows him to farm. He ended up only getting about half of these because he sucked at it. But
Yeah.
yeah, just hitting him with poison here. Every little tick there of that -10, once that hits about 5, then it's going to turn his shield off. And about there, his shield turns off. So
God damn.
so
Never even
you
noticed.
can do magic damage with your first skill or your passive, your third skill.
Yeah.
Either one would be an option. And in fact, in a lot of ways, I would say that your third skill is very good against Ember, just because he does a lot of damage over time, so it's very easy to re-proc that extra damage.
Okay.
So,
Can you just pause for a moment here?
yes.
I love the first waves just happened, and the last hits in the ranking, it's 2-1, 2-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0.
Yeah,
Oh, sick. Sick,
that's 2K
dude.
MMR right there, basically.
Dude. Holy shit, man. I'm ready. I'm ready to go, man. I'm ready to get those last hits all in, man.
So the next thing I want to talk about is how you pressured this guy. You basically felt like he couldn't do anything, right? Like this was just pretty much
Yeah.
straightforward. If he comes forward, you slap him.
Yeah.
Now, but look at where you're standing right now. You're sitting defensive over here. If this guy
Yeah.
tries to fight you and he turns on Flame Guard, it's a decent trade. But once you hit like level 2, it's not even close. You're going to easily beat him in a trade. So what I actually like to do on Viper and what a lot of players will do in low level pubs is they'll just stand on his side of the hill. That's
Yeah.
because if he even gets close to the creep wave, you'll zone him and harass him.
Because my Q doesn't aggro creeps.
Exactly, because it's not a right click, right? You're pressing the hotkey for poison attack and you're left clicking it on him. So therefore you're not right clicking him, which is why it's not aggroing creeps. So that means that you can abuse where you're standing in the creep wave. So you standing all the way over here does virtually nothing other than ensure that you're next to the creep wave. So every time he wants to last hit, he only has to run this far. He basically is guaranteed experience, and it's scary to last hit. But if you stand either in the middle of the river or on his cliff, if you stand on his cliff instead, then he can't even get close to the experience anymore. Then he's sitting by his tower.
So, like, what do I think in order to avoid getting ganked? Is this just like literally minimap stuff? Because I in the very first game I played,
Yeah.
because I went Viper, line, Viper. In the Viper game, I was pushing a lot more aggressively than I normally do, and I just got ganked like 3 times. Um,
Um, I don't think I actually missed those. I was outside for those ones, but I don't know if
right.
it matters too much. Because for example, if they leave the lane and come to your lane, and if they do it inefficiently, then they're not helping their lanes in the meantime. And you are going to get ganked sometimes. And Viper's definitely susceptible a bit because he's slow. But
Yeah.
I feel like It's definitely not something you worry about at 1 minute. We're only 1 minute into the game here. This is the second creep wave. So it's something you have
Yeah.
to be concerned about sometimes, but the easiest thing is just to have a high ground ward. Basically, a ward anywhere here or anywhere here would really help, just because you know for sure that
Yeah.
you will see them coming a little bit earlier than normal. And then how you react to the gank is also really important, and the items you have, lots of little things like that. So, like, in all of this creep wave here, he just doesn't even feel very safe coming up, but you're letting him get all the way up to a creep wave before you even hit him. But if you were playing in the middle of the wave instead, this guy wouldn't have even got him to the creeps to get 2 last hits. And the longer that you delay him getting his first item, the easier it makes the game. So I wish that your positioning would have been more aggressive here, because you have 700 HP, you have a ranged advantage, you have your second skill, which does physical damage. It's just like tons and tons of advantages over this Ember Spirit.
Oh, I
that you
thought
could
Nether
have
Toxin
abused.
was magical damage.
It is not. It does physical. So if he's missing a
So
lot of
sick.
HP, you do bonus physical. So kind of the way Viper works is surviving, getting their HP kind of low using magic skills, and then when his HP is low, Nether Toxin really helps you finish people off. So right here, watch the Flame Guard's going to end. It's pretty much gone there. Ran out. That one might have been time-based, but still. So another thing that was important about this, I'm just going to jump forward just a little bit here.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same principle. Like, you've been wrecking this guy in lane, but
Yeah.
you're still sitting on your side of the map when you could just actually get him out of experience range, kind of a thing, which would have been way
Yeah.
more useful. All right, this is really impactful. Remember how I talked about, like, pushing lanes, for example? So he
Yeah.
pushes the lane up, he goes to get the rune, and he does something really stupid. By the way, you last hit better under tower than you do with creeps. Did you know that?
I think just
4 out of
I
40.
got very lucky
Is that
in
all?
this particular game. Yeah. Typically, it's the other way around,
Okay.
and neither are very good.
Okay. So he pushed the lane. You have to last under tower. He grabs a rune, and then he's walking to the top lane. And because you're missing mana, I believe is why you did this. You said, "Hey, I'm gonna go use the shrine."
Yeah.
But the problem is that by doing that, you got gold here that's fallen to the ground and nobody's picking it up, and experience. And did you really need the mana or the regen that bad right there? Because you lost 2
Yeah.
creeps. You lost
It,
3
it
creeps last hit, and
so
2 experience.
my so first of all, I think that it's correct that I should have cleared that and then gone for the shrine, or just to clear and actually push.
It's difficult with Viper is one of the downsides. It's one of the counters to the heroes. You just push the lane against him and you can't push very fast because he doesn't have an AoE. But
Yeah.
I think it was clear from this moment here that even though you were even slightly inefficient with you getting the shrine, you're still getting a huge advantage over the Amber, because he basically went to the top lane, tried to gank, and it didn't even work. And now you're level 5, and if we compare where he's been this whole time, he just left the lane to go get a rune, and he's been gone this whole time. So try not to do this is my point. Try not to do what he did here, because it
Yeah.
leads this further disadvantage, and that was one of the reasons that he got wrecked so bad, is because this basically just kept happening, where you hit 6 before he did, because he didn't stay in the lane very long, and then it just led to like a super easy kill, where this one I believe you just right-clicked him like 3 times or something. You didn't even
Yeah.
have to use your ulti 4
Yeah,
times.
I've been trying to be relatively conservative about using my ultimate, which might just I think I'm over conservative.
I think you used it fine. All the times
Okay.
that I watched you use it. This is just for the tower aggro thing. If you select the tower, you can see what it's attacking on. This
Yeah.
is right here was one of those moments where you could have just stopped attacking, and it would have attacked the range creep instead. So if you just weren't
Okay.
attacking, you would have gotten away with it not hitting you, but instead it aggroed you, as you can see. You did de-aggro it there, though. That was good. You're integrating that already. That was really solid.
I remember I spammed that there, and I was like, I can't believe that works.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, you did most of these ganks really well. Something that you didn't do well was ever killing the Weaver bugs. You kind of just ignore it all the time. But we'll have some clips later where it shows really how effective it is. It lowers your armor by a stupid amount the longer it's on you. So there was a lot of times when you probably should have killed it. But this is great. You're reacting to ganks pretty well. I think you really understand Viper. He's obviously not very complicated. You attack people. That's pretty much it. And you're a little bit hard to kill.
yeah.
But
Tanky poison god, man.
one thing that was important, though, is that you basically were out of base a lot. So after that last double kill, your HP got low, right?
Yeah.
Which means that you need to run back to go heal. And this is kind of like an early itemization thing. We'll get into that deeper in a different lesson. But because you had to walk all the way back to base just to heal, it means that you're not farming, you're not getting experience, and
Yeah.
it's hurting your overall resource gain. You're losing time as well. So walking all the way here just to TP back to the mid lane where a fight is happening is not really a good thing. So you have to be a bit more careful about, there's some better solutions, like for example, you could buy an item that gives you passive regen. You could maybe buy a lifesteal item, something like that could be a good solution. But it's safe to say that when Vipers do play mid, in the pro scene at least, they do need to buy at least one item that gives them some magic resistance. Or I'm sorry, some HP regen over time. Just because it allows them to stay on the map longer.
So I really like getting the Hurricane Pike. Would it be reasonable to just get that Ring of Regen relatively early instead?
It's really not much regen is the problem. It only gives you...
What are some of the regen item options?
Okay, so we'll say Bottle is one. Not really recommended on Viper because you don't need the mana too much. The most common one right now is Helm of the Dominator. Costs about 1800 gold, and it gives you 8 HP per second, I think. It's basically like an early fighting item. That's the most common item, I think. So hypothetically, you could do almost the same build that you did. It's just buy Helm of the Dominator before you get a Dragonlance. Or you could go Dragonlance and a Helm, maybe. Or you could just buy the headdress component of the Helm and hold it, because that would give you 3 HP over time. But sometimes those are good solutions. Sometimes it's even better just to fly out a salve instead of running all the way back to base. That could be a solution as well.
I'm sorry, to do what?
To fly a salve out. Spend 110 gold.
Oh, yeah.
To fly out 400 HP. That way you don't have to go back and heal. Things like that help a lot too.
Okay, sick. Yeah, I have felt the low health regeneration on him a lot.
Yeah, because it keeps you less active and things like that.
I think this is the first time I died.
There's a bug here. You should be able to see your Maelstrom, but this is one of those examples. Oh yeah, I wanted to show this for the amount of minus armor that you're getting. Okay, so take a look in the bottom down here. This is your armor because of bugs right now. And Blightstone. This is 2 armor. And this is bugs.
Yeah.
And we'll see what it is when it runs out, okay? -3, -4, -5, -6.
I had no idea.
You barely hit -7, so that was losing you -21, -19 armor from bugs. And you just keep them. You're like, oh, you're just gonna come for the ride, okay?
Yeah.
And
I mean, like,
run.
many times I was like, okay, I'm deliberately going to not kill this bug in favor of running. Because I thought I just did damage.
Sometimes
here, I just didn't. Here, I didn't even see that I had a bug on me.
So this is why I think Ember went for you, because you looked really weak, because every right click of his looks strong. But as soon as the bugs run out, all of a sudden you have 20 more armor. And then he realized that he does actually no damage to you compared to what you do to him. But yeah, you definitely, you lived with the bugs a lot. This is not a moment where I probably would have killed them. Killed the bugs or attacked the bugs at least, because it's what makes this such a cool mechanic. You either like spend 5 seconds to auto attack the bug four times, or you just live with the fact that your armor is going to be really low when you fight. So it's difficult. This is maybe one of those moments for cores or carries that you need to be careful with when you actually end up fighting to the death, because basically you're committed here. There's no escape. So what you should probably do in these brief moments is say, who's the squishiest guy here? And I'm going to try to kill him.
So I'm clearly wrong on this. I thought Omni Knight should be squishy.
Not really. First reason...
Because, like, in the games, I was, like, hitting on him. He was just, like, fucking nothing was happening all game long.
Okay, that's because this was the best player on their team, and he bought tons and tons of tank. Did you click on him at all at any point in the game to see what items he had?
I clicked on him to see his armor, and he's at 33.
Yeah, that's a shitload. That's like as much armor as you had late game. So then it kind of comes down to like damage types and itemization and understanding that. I'll tell you about that in 2 weeks. No, I'm just kidding. Basically, you do probably half magic damage, half physical. For example, is probably the safe description. Maybe it's a little different. Yeah. So if he has a ton of armor, then the amount of physical damage you're doing is reduced. But he bought a hood. He bought a pipe, which resists magic, and he bought tons of armor items and damage block items. So you basically just didn't do that much damage to him. In the case of this early in the game, the easiest to kill hero is Weaver, but he obviously goes invis. So I would have picked Legion Commander myself, and as soon as you hit the shrine, I would have fought to the death. That was when you needed to start fighting. It was like about here. You grab it, you get outside of the blood right. So, I'm sorry, that's your blood right.
No, I avoided my teammate's blood right like so many times, dude.
That's okay. That's totally fine. But you see how you basically focus on somebody that has, if he buys a buckler, he's actually already got a mech. He's got 16 armor right now. And this is 22 minutes in the game. Because very often Omnis will buy a mech and that gives you 5 armor. So Omni's not an easy hero to kill. And if he gets really low, usually Omnis are very good at paying attention to their HP. and
Yeah.
maybe a bit worse at paying attention to your allies' HP. So I find that attacking somebody other than Omni is sometimes the right option. But I really felt like your lack of experience playing the game impacted tons of fights here, just because you didn't always know exactly who's strong at certain points. And when you play carry, it's really important that you make the perfect decisions in those fractions of seconds, because there's
Right.
honestly a real chance you could have killed the Legion commander here before you died, and then you get more gold overall. And again, it's all that overarching like have more shit than your opponents.
And so, like, in order to build that sort of knowledge,
Yeah.
like, I don't know if this is already one of the topics to be covered, but should I like review big fights and replays I have and just say like who should I have killed here? Like I'm certainly going to be playing pretty much Zeus, Lion, and Viper for a while.
It's definitely helpful sometimes. And we could do it right now. To be honest, we have a bunch of fights. You want to do it?
All
Here,
right, yeah,
top
let's
jungle
go.
fight. Okay, so you are doing pretty well here. You've got Treads, Hurricane Pike with a Maelstrom. So strolling in here, this guy's gonna get dueled. That's not good. All right, do you know what that animation is?
That is the ultimate for Omninet, which means they're immune to physical damage. But I thought the my neurotoxin was magical damage.
It is. Your spells are magic damage, and your Maelstrom proc as well, also magic.
Or when I thought that the passive that deals bonus damage
Oh,
was
this. Yeah.
yeah.
Physical.
I thought that was physical.
So if they
Or
deal
excuse me, I thought that was
damage,
magical. Yeah.
if they deal damage to you here, you're reflecting magic. This will do like 24 magic per second,
Sure.
and your ultimate,
Sure.
obviously. And then you
Yeah.
can still attack and proc Maelstrom. Those will do damage as well. So at
Right.
this point, you're attacking this guy probably because he's dueled, right?
Yes.
You thought
And
that he would
because
die.
I was convinced that my nether toxin would deal a bunch of damage. So
Okay,
that makes total sense as to why I didn't.
even if it did, Omni has a. Do you know what Omni's second skill does?
Repel, yeah.
So it stops any magic damage in almost all cases. So even if it did do damage, technically he would have been able to protect the one guy. So
Okay.
one smart thing to do sometimes in fights like these for Viper, especially when you know they're immune to stuff for a bit, is to just attack everybody once with poison attack. Because then for at least 2 seconds, everybody's taking a little damage and they're going to be slowed. If like
Yeah.
for example, like if somebody glyphs a tower, I'll like poison attack some heroes instead or something. Just or if a guardian angel gets used, it's worth it to spread the damage out a little bit or spread the disable a bit.
Fantastic.
This
Sick.
is so. For example, what would you do right now?
Uh, right now,
The Legion just ran to the left. If you didn't see that,
yeah, I was trying to chase after the Legion to finish him off.
and I thought that was pretty good.
And then here, I for some reason this entire game was just amazed at how not killable that guy was.
Do you know why that felt ineffective?
What do you mean, like why it felt ineffective?
Well, so you used your ulti on him, right?
Um,
All right, it was about here.
if I did, I had no. Oh, does that just purge the debuff?
The debuff stays because Viper Strike does actually go through BKB, I believe.
Yeah.
But normally, yeah, Omni can remove some debuffs. So the slow still applies, but the damage does not, is how Viper Strike works. So basically,
Okay.
you're slowing this guy, but you're not doing damage with your ult. And basically, when he repels, the only thing that you can do is physically right-click him. You're limited.
Yeah.
Unless you have Scotty, then you can slow him through it.
There.
So basically, you have to use that information to know, like, oh, this is what his abilities do, and that's how you have to play around it. So it's difficult, and there's a lot of itemization mistakes that you made. Probably your build worked really good the first game you played on Viper, but not good the second game. You needed to go a different way, probably more damage heavy. You went very tanky.
Yes.
And if you would
I
have,
love Scotty. Scotty's my favorite thing
okay,
ever. Man.
it's cool, but you did no damage late game. There was like so many fights where it was like, hey, you have the most farm in the game. Like, seriously, take a second and look at the net worth in the upper left. Look at this. This is
Oh,
like
damn.
very representative of lower MMR games. Everybody's about in the same clump because they just fight all the time and nobody knows how to like really push advantages. And here you are, and here is you trying to kill this guy because you have a Scotty, and then the whole team just kills you. Like it's great to have Scotty, but there's this balance between damage and tankiness that you have to better balance, and that's why this game became so difficult. There's so many different other aspects of this fight that you needed to itemize around. This is mostly an itemization loss, in my opinion.
Okay.
And you played better than your teammates by far, but proper itemization could have solved this problem, in my opinion. and maybe a little bit better team fight decision making. So that's kind of why this game felt like it did.
What are reasonable damage items to get on Viper?
Maelstrom obviously is great, but you bought that.
Yeah.
Mjolnir, that was probably the biggest mistake you made, was that after making Maelstrom, you made a Scotty instead. I would have preferred that you just made Mjolnir right there. Amp up your magic damage. Keep in mind that if Omni uses Guardian Angel and stops all physical damage, well, hey, now you have this item that does more magic.
Yeah, yeah.
And also, do you know how the active of Mjolnir works? Have you used it before?
Yeah, yeah, it's the little lightning sphere around you that reflects.
Do you know how when it reflects?
Not really.
Okay, it has a 20% chance to reflect 200 AoE towards the source every time there's an instance of damage.
Ooh.
So any heroes on the enemy team that do a lot of instances of damage?
Oh, no. Oh, shit. My shit's lagging. Oh, God. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, no. Hold on. Hold on. The connection's becoming unstable.
Oh, no.
I don't know what the heck's happening on my internet. Oh, my gosh.
You sound fine to me. Oh, he hung up. Oh, no, you're going to see our secret messages. He's calling me back. That. And then I will answer.
Oh,
I will
hello?
accept your video.
Send me some video too, baby.
Okay. There you go. And okay. All right. Stabilized. We recovered. You okay?
All right, great. We're back.
Okay. Lots of damage over time sources on your opponent team. Basically Jakiro and Ember Spirit. They do.
Okay.
It's like it's same as Bat Rider, right? You're doing a lot of damage over time. So if you have a Mjolnir against those guys, you're just going to throw out tons of AoE magic damage, and that's going to cut right through the Omni ult.
Sick.
And give you more attack speed and other stuff. And then you could have transitioned to a tanky item if you wanted to, like a Scotty or a AC or a BKB or frankly whatever you wanted. So itemization was definitely a big deal. But I would say your laning went very well. That's the important thing, obviously, and what we're supposed to be focusing on.
Yeah.
It went well, but you could have given this guy the experience of your second line game. And that is what you're supposed to do when you play Viper. You're supposed to make this guy be like, why do I play this game? Why did I think I could play solo mid this game? Why? You need to instill the hatred that you have for Slark to people for Viper. That is what you should be doing. And in matchups like these, where it's a melee hero, that you have kite mobility and you're tanky enough to survive against him, you should crap on an Ember. You should make his life a living hell.
Okay, so tight. Sick.
Would you like an example? Would you like to open the game right now, hop into a lobby, and lane Viper or lane Ember Spirit versus me?
I mean,
it might drive the. I don't know if you want the point driven home. It's up to you. Do you want to feel the pain? Do you want to understand what you should have done?
Well, let me ask this: what else is there? What else is there for review for today?
I don't think that's just about it. I mean, we got some fights and crap, but like.
Then get in here and shit on me in laning. Okay. Even though I've never played this hero before.
you literally told me you did. Did you lie to me?
I opened him up in like the demo to understand all of his abilities and to fill around with him, but I've never played with him in a game.
It's like fighting a baby. Maybe this isn't worth it. No, we should.
Okay, dude.
This will be worth it.
Dude, let's do it, man. Come on, let's go. Let's go.
Oh God, don't look.
Oh, what games does he own? You get online, man.
$55 on Steam. No one.
So sick.
No one steal my account. Any moment.
Here we go.
There's some very aggressive things that you can do with Viper, and I want you to make sure that you do them because you need to be able to understand when to do them as well.
Yeah.
So you can Bat Rider people, or laning stage Slark people. All right, let me get you into a party, and then I can give you a nice little treat before you leave.
All right, I can't wait, man.
The
treat me
right.
Of
knowing what you could have done. Oh God, you're hard to find. Meta Trousers. There we go.
There I am. Meta Trousers. Let's go. It'll be a new name every week, man. Let's get this game going. Right, I will be on the dire side.
I'll do this fair. We'll go for US West. I won't local host it.
Hell yeah, man.
I'm gonna turn cheats off.
Let me look maximally frazzled. I'm over here now. Here, let me actually just. Ah,
It's beautiful. All right.
Ember. Okay, what? Let's just buy the default items with Ember, huh?
Yeah, sure. That works. And now we wait.
Okay, man. Strategy time on my end.
All right, you want a pro tip for your item build?
Yeah.
Go Poor Man's Shield. Can you do that with a Tango? Probably not, because you need an ally. You're supposed to do like Poor Man's Shield with pooled Tangos, usually. But I don't think you can afford both. You can probably only get Poor Man's Shield. And I turned cheats off, so I can't help you there. All right, good luck. Get a stout with some regen or something. That's the best you're going to get.
I'm ready! Shit on me, Purge! Woo!
I just think it's important to do these once in a while just so you can truly understand what it feels like and know, therefore, how the pressure should be put on your opponent.
Yeah.
Oh man, we have a little black bar. I messed up the thing. It's okay.
Yeah, you just
It's like a
Skype, guys.
no, I'm good. I like it. I like it like that.
This is the MMR ceiling I'm trying to break through, huh?
Oh, that's making it worse. Oh, I had to shrink it actually.
Yeah, man.
All right, and now we wait. Are you gonna get a bounty rune? You planning on a bounty rune?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it, man.
Okay, I'll get a bounty rune too.
Sick. Look at you being a pro and not leveling your shit up yet, man. I like start off. I just like get that E, man.
What if you need to sleight a fist to dodge 4 stuns from a 5-man smoked enemy team? Do you ever think about that?
Then they're better than I am, and I'm humble enough to admit that. You know,
yeah, that's one thing you could do.
That's the build order, dude. In 30 seconds, we're gonna see who's better at blocking creeps, man. I think I know what the answer is gonna be, but I'm still willing to try.
Any day. Any. Steady.
All right. 15 seconds of tension, man.
I certainly should have turned cheats on. That would have made a lot of sense, I think. Could have started this game faster. Oh, I'm going to try to remember to scan for the 3rd time in my life this game. I'm pretty sure I'm going to miss the block if I get the bounty rune, because this hero's slow as hell. He's flying, but he's slow. Does that make a whole lot of sense?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, I'm going to make it.
I'm spamming my stop buttons. Yeah, I have to like cut like super hard angles with him. I fly into a rage. All right, I missed one. I missed a single one. I missed 2. I missed 3. Okay.
Right, I messed up at the end. All right, let's go do things. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Ugh. So when do I actually turn this thing on? Is holy shit! You can actually loop all the way around like this.
Yeah, you're doing pretty good though. Oh, I got creeps. All right, we're just fighting to death here. Is that what's happening?
I mean,
well, I won now.
Oh shit! No, I took a step away. Get me out of here.
Okay.
Oh, dude, you know that would be so funny if the tower shot.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's the best time to trade, actually. That's technically what you should do. You should trade heavily, knowing that I only have 1 skill advantage over you.
Yeah.
I think I would.
But like as time goes on, I'm just gonna get toasted.
Technically, we weren't supposed to fight to the death there. Well, it was actually good for you to do that. I think you did a great job considering. You also did good attack moving too. I'll tell you about that in about 5 weeks or something. And I have a boots advantage and shit. So.
Also, I didn't have enough money to buy a fucking. Oh, I did have enough money to buy. Oh shit! Part of my screen was covering up.
Oh, okay.
I had 270, so I didn't TP back because there was something covering my screen. So I thought I had 27. Shit, man. Oh,
I think I got about 0 of those last hits.
So sick.
It was pretty close. See, I got corrosive because I was like, oh, I want to resist the magic damage that he does when I come to fight you again, like here.
How does this thing work?
It hits 2 random units. Alright, you're dead now. Alright, and now it's like just a stupid advantage, and I'm only like...
Alright, so...
I don't even have to attack you for you to die there. Okay, so point sort of proven. You did the correct reaction, and that you were trading heavily because I only had 1 skill point.
I mean, there's the knowledge I have that if I try to run away at all, you're going to get like
8 right clicks and
400 points of damage on me.
Yeah.
So I just like bombed in on you all the time, which is unrealistic to expect in a game anyways.
But basically, don't be afraid to cross the river when you're playing Viper. Like, you should be doing it, and I guarantee that if you're playing against a random 2K player, half the time they won't even fight you correctly. They'll just make a mistake, and it'll be the easiest kill ever.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I like I felt how helpless I was with you standing like right there
yeah,
next to me,
and
which I just expect that not to be the case.
and
And
that
then
abuse is all just there because it doesn't aggro creeps. That's it. There's only a couple of heroes that can do it. It's like Silencer, Viper, maybe some others. Huskar is really good against it at doing that. Those three. So
sick.
you gotta abuse this stuff better,
Okay.
just so you can. I mean, you're doing very well in your Viper games. Sport's harder, much harder. It's a very different set of skills.
I think that what I'm going to do is alternate between playing Lion and playing Viper, so I have like more context. Because
Okay, I think that's
if
smart.
you want to come back to our hangout mode,
I
I feel
refuse.
I feel tiny,
I
like
feel
just
I feel safe in Dota, man.
Okay, so what homework should I do for next week?
Uh, make sure you never play Lion again. It's probably one of them. I don't know.
Well, I feel
No,
like is that like sincere? Because like part of me
no, not
wants
at
to
all.
play like half Lion
No,
and
you
like
should
really
you
go
should
into.
certainly play Lion. It's just the hard part. Lion is not a noob friendly hero. That's part of the issue. Is that you're kind of making it harder on yourself by trying to play Lion games, because it is. Wait. Do you want to fight or something? Did you
No, no, no.
resume?
I left the game.
Oh, okay. I was like,
You
oops.
just want to go? I'm like,
Like,
yeah.
you
Or
want
should
to
tell me you to play,
talk
bitch.
while we fight?
Like,
Um,
yeah,
Lion's kind of a higher skill cap hero because he does require a lot of knowledge about what skills your opponents have, so you know how to react to all
yeah.
situations, kind of. And you have to do all those little things like saving your hex until so and so maximizes his damage, and it's difficult to solo carry the game online. You can kind of do it if you're good at ganking, but if you're not good at ganking, Lion is not really the most noob friendly hero. So
Okay.
there's safer heroes that I think you should play that would give you the same kind of thing, but be easier to execute, be easier to lane, things like that. So like Ogre Magi, really straightforward. Tanky,
Oh yeah, Blue
he's
Clown Man.
he's got nukes, he can pull, you can make tons of mistakes and it doesn't matter. You can still scale, you're not going to scale as well disable wise as a Lion will, but you're harder to kill. It's easier for you to play, I would assume, as a new player because or you could pick something that can transition into a hero like a semi carry maybe. There's examples of that perhaps, but most supports are very like spell reliant for their survivability, damage, kill potential. So sports are kind of hard. It's like I still think you should practice it, but I know that you're going to have trouble in the mid and late game stuff. And I think there's just a really a lot of people don't understand how difficult it is to play support, I would say. In like your average pub, it just gets tough. Like cuz you think it's most players just think it's about like warding. And it's just so much deeper than that. It's like every situation you have to like integrate with your team, and like it's difficult to summarize how to play support correctly. So yeah,
Well,
just play
awesome.
games and it's going to suck, but some of them won't suck.
I'll grind
And
through.
yeah, and then we'll be
So
back next week to hopefully fix the rest of the laning.
here's the thing: is that like I'm gonna say right now, my goal is to try to go up like 100 MMR a week. That's just going to be the goal through playing games.
Okay.
I'm trying to win.
That's
That's
attainable.
winning four more games than I lose per week. Because then I'll be 4K at the end of this.
You could do that. Easy.
So
Like
sick.
your in-game mechanics are pretty solid. The line game that you're doing really well. That one, you're good at pressing your buttons. That's like one of the base things. Like when your cooldowns are off cooldown most of the time, and you're using your items fairly well.
Cool.
That's most of the battle. You just have to get used to all the heroes and, um, suck less in the laning stage. That's about it.
Yes.
So you can have more
Well,
stuff.
cool.
Yeah,
Well, dude, Kevin, thank you so much for telling me how to play just the tip of the iceberg and for preparing all the materials and for reviewing my shit.
no problem. We'll be
I'm
back
excited to
next
see.
week.
Yeah, man. Next week, Wednesday, 1 p.m., same sort of structure again. And for now, Kevin, I understand you're going to go play a shitload of games?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna play like two pubs or something like that. If you guys
Well, sick. Well, in that case, I'm going to go disappear
sounds good.
and I'm going to watch you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thanks for joining me today. We'll see everybody else tomorrow. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.
Bye.